Alrighty, guys, this is number 16 on your exam review, and we're going to have to complete the square to write the standard form of each conic section. And again, a couple of things to look at in this second one, maybe, there it is. Notice how you have both an x squared and a y squared. So because you have both, it's going to be a circle, an ellipse, or a hyperbola. Because this is positive here, they're both positive. It's a positive 4x squared and a positive 9y squared. You are going to have either a circle or an ellipse. If it was a negative, if you had one of them, you were subtracting, you would have a hyperbola. And then because these two numbers of the 4 and the 9 are different, that means it's an ellipse. So part B is going to be an ellipse. Over here on part A, I have a squared x and a singleton y, right? So squared x and a singleton y means a parabola. And remember, we tried to do the singleton equals squared. So this singleton stuff here is going to stay over on the left side when we go to work. So y minus 42, okay, is going to equal, you're going to add 2x squared to both sides and add 16x to both sides, right? When I'm adding everything over there. So yes. All right. So then when we're doing this, y minus the 42 equals please factor out the 2 from there. And then you've got x squared plus x plus the square. And you can add or not your square, add your blank. Sorry about that, plus blank. And just add your blank underneath the 42. Complete the square. You take your number in front of your x, which is your b, divided by 2, and square it. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Now 16 is not going into that blank because we're not just adding 16, we're really adding 32. So then we have a y minus a 10 equals a 2 times the quantity x plus 4 squared. The only thing we have left to do is divide by 2, and really you don't write it as a fraction, you write it as 1/2 times the quantity y minus 10 equals an x plus 4 quantity squared. Okay, so there's that one. I'll real quick just make that one smaller and then work on part B all in the same video. So when you're doing these, you want to make sure that you're going x squared x, y squared y, simply because it is an ellipse. If it was a hyperbola, you would go whichever was the positive. Okay, so we're going to do 4x squared plus a 32x plus a 9y squared. Oops, sorry guys, I need to switch over to the other side of the stylus. Minus a 144. Too many. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to switch over to the other stylus. 144y equals you subtract 316 from both sides. Okay? All right, so then everything's in order. I'm going to factor a 4 out of the x squared plus 32x. So then I'll have, 4 out of the 4x squared plus 32x. So I'll have x squared plus 8x there. Add a blank. I'm going to factor out a 9 y squared minus what is that, 16, 90, and 54, yeah. So minus a 16y plus a blank equals a negative 316, and as is my habit, I always run out of space over there, so I gotta add those 2 blanks underneath. Alrighty, 8 divided by 2, square it. We've got a 16 there. We're not just adding 16, we are adding 64. Then you're going to do a negative 16 divided by 2 and square it. So you're adding 64 there, but you are not just adding 64, you're adding the 9 times the 64. And the 9 times 64 is really 576. Okay. And so then you do the same thing. You got your 4 out front. It does not go away just yet. You rewrite your trinomial as a binomial squared, so x plus 4 quantity squared plus 9, and then you're going to do y minus 8 quantity squared. It is very, very important to note. Please remember, I know I harp on this a lot, but remember, this sign matches this one. Minus, minus, plus, plus, right? And that's why when we write it here, even though we know that we're going to square it so it will always be a positive here, we write it as a negative 16. So negative 16 divided by 2, negative 8 right there. Okay, so then when we take everything on the right side and combine it, we get a 324. And then we're going to divide everything by 324. Oops, that's a 324, not a 326. Good grief. All right, so we have an x plus 4 quantity squared over an 81 plus a y minus 8, oops, quantity squared over a 36. And that's going to equal a 1. Okay, so that's the equation of our ellipse.